Hello, and I am on the phone in my room. I'm late coming back because I was at Balloon A-faire and it was beautiful. And I expect that you're probably surprised I'm on this late, and so am I. But I actually thought once again, I thought I was live, and wasn't live. The end button wasn't down there. The go live button came back up again. So I'm talking all this time and I'm not getting it it's not happening. It's not really happening. So during that time, Pam tried to call me, and now I'm wondering if that's why she tried to call me to tell me that something was wrong with the stream. So maybe what I need to do, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know if this something is binking and making noises, and I don't know what it's trying to tell me. Oh, geez. Anyway, I did most of the show to nothing to the air, to cowboy hair. This is just a little too much. Well, I came running in from the Balloon A-faire. I got Jason to take me. He wanted to go too, so we finally got to it. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fortunately, we got to the Sunday part of it, which still has some music and and a balloon launch. And the balloon launch was beautiful. Took forever. They really check to see how the wind is blowing and everything because it's very important. You don't want them to bash into each other. You don't want them to get blown off course. So they would send up a test balloon. The I have some videos, or I should have some videos and pictures, and I'll put them in our MeWe Galactic Woo Crew MeWe group. So if you want to see those, go to our Galactic Woo Crew MeWe group. Okay, and I'll put them up shortly. Like, not right away, but shortly. I need some rest. It was a long day, actually. I almost didn't come in. I nearly didn't. But I thought, hello, Richard, how you doing? I nearly didn't come in, but I thought, people are expecting something. And besides, I did have something to talk about, which was the Balloon A-faire, and how interesting it was. It's a whole steampunk aspect of it, really. Ow. Oh, gosh. Although I might have overdone it a little. The arm that had the torn rotator cuff is acting up. Ouch. Anyway, it was beautiful. They had a very special balloon there, and you'll see it. I have some footage of it, shaped like a crab. 6 legs, 2 claws, and 2 eyes up on stalks. And of course, when the balloon wasn't quite full, the appendages weren't entirely inflated, and so the eyes were just going, and the legs were. It was pretty cool, actually. This big cartoon crab getting inflated in front of your eyes, and all of the beautiful colors on all the beautiful balloons. It was really something, and seeing the fire, seeing how they blow them up with fans first, and then they use the fire to heat up the air so that it becomes light. And eventually it just goes from, there's people scrambling around on the first, there's people scrambling around, trying to get it unrolled, trying to get the canvas part unrolled, trying to get the gondola out of wherever they got it stashed, and I got to see all of that. And getting people in it. There was one that the gondola was absolutely full. They they actually threw a kid in it and closed the door and so the kid wouldn't fall out. And they're going, "Oh my God, that is not going to be a comfortable float," because the gondola was just so full of people. I'm like, whoa. So, but it took off. It managed to get airborne and float on the current. I was just thinking, man, it's very steampunk. It is. And I can see the attraction of the steampunks. I mean, we have all kinds of all kinds of pictures and stuff and indications that at one time we were an airborne society and we got around with blimps. We went from place to place with blimps. So, the Balloon Affair is where I went, and the Balloon Affair is kind of like one of the most wholesome shows you can go to. It's very, um, it's, yeah, it's extremely, wholesome for all ages type vendors, food vendors, craft vendors, watching the balloons inflate, watching, there's bands, there's, um, helicopter rides. It's nice. It's a nice family sort of thing. 4 days long. And on Saturday, they even have fireworks. We're missing all that, though. Sunday's the only day we could go. But they still had a balloon launch, which balloon launches, if you've never been to one, you need to get to a balloon launch some point. A nice one. If you go to a nice one, they're really magical. And they're beautiful. The balloons come in all these beautiful colors, and to see them rising up, I remember one time they had them already pre-pumped up, and then I was vending in the middle of a bunch of them just before they started to rise, and then they just kind of, at one point, they just started all rising into the air. They don't all take off at quite the same time. Today they took off one at a time. I think it was to make sure there were no accidents because the wind was moving a little bit more than usual, I guess. But it's interesting because I felt so small. And especially since they had this giant crab balloon. And I mean, 6 legs, 2 claws, 2 eyes. It kind of went when it wasn't entirely inflated. So, we're watching this and while it's getting inflated, it looks really weird too, but it's kind of ice cream cone shaped. Of course, because it's a balloon, but then it has these legs dangling over these eyes. And you know what the joke was? I wonder how many people are going to be seeing UFOs tonight. UFOs might as well play and have fun because people are going to be sighting things all night. Especially this giant flying crab, right? This giant floating crab. It's like, honest officer, I wasn't drinking or anything. It wasn't acid, I swear. But no, it was pretty cool. You'll see it on MeWe.com on Galactic Woo Crew. So, somehow the first time I tried to do this, I got all the way from there to our people, our steampunk people really remembering Tartaria and Atlantis. And what we're calling Tartaria may be the Atlantean civilization. We're not sure. If it was, it would kind of make sense. I mean, we would have ways of floating around. That would be the balloons we seem to remember. Some people remember that, and I do too. I seem to recall that. And they do have some evidence that that's exactly what was happening. And sometimes I think that these ideas that we think are fantasy and science fiction are not. It's just we are living those lives somewhere else. They exist somewhere. We're just writing them down or making them into some kind of fiction. So, and actually, probably they're based on something true. The steampunk society was probably something like what we think of as the Tartarian or Atlantis, with all their antiquitech, the different kinds of tech. That would be right up a steampunk alley, right? So I'm there like, wow. And the balloon launches are some of the last vestiges we have of those days. Because people say it's such a serene way to travel. It's not noisy, it's very quiet up there. Um, I think I'd like to take a ride in a balloon. I think I'd enjoy it. Would be quite amazing, really. But then somehow I got from there, in the first attempt at this, somehow I got from there to where we know about the underground places too. And some of the stuff I saw when I worked in places that had underground levels were really unsettling. I mean, so the sub basement, when I was delivering mail, um, the sub basement was particularly scary, and I always felt like I was being watched. And there would be places where you couldn't see, it was black as ink, really. It was the pools between the lights were very ominous, and it's not for a sensitive person. I met somebody else from here who had the same doggone job. He was sensitive and he couldn't take it either. He couldn't take it either. I'm like, ooh. So I wasn't the only one that was feeling this. So was that yet another memory of what was going on in these tunnels? What was really going on? Because those tunnels, if you're sensitive, they're scary. They're weird. They don't feel right, man. Feel like all kinds of shit happened down there. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of really weird stuff happened down there. And then there was a place that I walked by underneath pole skis when I go home that scared the crap out of me somehow. The pit of my stomach. It's not that anything scary was happening, but there were these rooms you'd walk by and it would be some kind of tech, but some kind of unknown tech, like this huge thing they called a boiler. It was a boiler. It was huge. I mean, more than one story high. Boiler made entirely out of brass. It didn't look like that. It didn't look like a boiler. It looked like something else, but it was giant sized. I'm even looking at it. I was looking at it thinking, if that's all one piece on the outside, how in the heck did they do that? They built that. How did they manufacture that? And it gave me the creeps, man. Every time I walked by it. I mean, it's way in the air. How tall would I say? These underground places are usually quite tall. But no, it was big though. It was like 2 floors. Some kind of a 2-floor boiler made of solid brass? Very weird, man. Really weird. And other stuff. Other just weird looking stuff that won't coalesce in my mind down there. Always a feeling like you're being watched. Oh. Going from that, switching from that. So, anyway, that's where possibly the whole steampunk might be coming from. It's those days. That would make some kind of sense. And what if that was a come down from the times when we had the floating platforms? Because we saw back in the pyramid days, they had floating platforms. Okay, here's the other weird coincidence that we know that there really are no coincidences, but here's one. Is that after thinking about the floating platforms and thinking we may have had a floating culture at one point, I was thinking, what if we did have a floating culture that was anti-grav, but something happened and the blimps were our way of compensating for what we couldn't do anymore, what we couldn't make work anymore for some reason. When we lost the anti-grav, for whatever reason, we end up using blimps because we're used to being in the sky. We're used to spend time in the sky, so of course blimps would be an alternative. It hit me when my friend Jason was saying, there's your floating city. We can have blimps. Blimp rides for people. We can anyway, because some of the old blimps were fitted out with all kinds of creature comforts. I mean, volleyball courts and stuff. It's the places that look like a living room and dining room you could have, you could rent. Really wild, to think about that because, and the way that we travel now is so cramped, small, compact. They try and squeeze us a little more every year. We go very fast, but not comfortably. Well, back in those days, you went very comfortably, but not very fast. So anyway, so yeah, I kind of relate that to that. But here's the weird part. I've also been listening to stories about kids who knew that they were reincarnated and remembered between lives and remembered previous lives. Some of them remembered previous lives with their current family. And some of them remembered what happened just before they came into life, remembered picking their parents. I guess I probably might want to put those, if I can find them again, want to put those um, in our Galactic Woo Crew lounge. No, not in the lounge. Put it in the Galactic Woo Crew group. Yeah, I started a new group, by the way, in MeWe that is just for solfeggio and rife frequencies and healing music and music that does stuff in the background while you do whatever you want to do. I'm going to start putting it there and I'm calling it, I think, Healing Frequencies. and I'll be sending links and stuff. And it's just going to be a compilation of videos. It's going to be about these videos and how they worked, how some of them worked better than others, maybe. That's my vision of that. I also have a vision of a new show I would like to spring on to people in October. We'll see how that progresses. Anyway, so how does this segue into a hug from a Sasquatch? What the hell am I talking about? But anyway, yeah, the kids would remember. Some of them remembered between lives. Some of them kind of were stalking their parents and told them what they were doing before they came to be born to them. Some of the kids were talking about they saw them from way up high and they had to come down a string or a ladder or something in order to come down to become born and go into the top of the mother's head and down into their waiting fetus body. And, they're young enough that their parents are like, ah, what are you? What? It's like, what? Um, it would be really would it be, you know, a little eerie if your kid said, well, I was watching you walking around in the snow, and he had never seen snow, but the mother had been in the snow before coming south, and the kid had never seen snow and was too young to really know much about it. Weird, man. That made me think of the floating city thing too, is because they talk about, oh yeah, they were way up and they had to come down in order to be born here. They picked their parents, they picked their family. We've heard this, and then we forget. Is that bizarre? I honestly think that life really is far more bizarre than we imagine, or maybe even more bizarre than we can imagine. Anyway, I'm Deja Ocean Swagger. This is the Ocean's Deep Woo. We do the deepest of woos here. That's what we do, all we do. And we do everything from Sasquatch to UFOs to spirit hauntings and just anything unique or unusual, metaphysical, paranormal, or just weird. Okay, plus I do readings with pendulum and psychically, and because I'm clairvoyant, and do readings with pendulum and cards and clairvoyantly. So, and we have free reading nights near the new and full moon. Hey T, thank you T. Nice to see you T. So basically, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, gosh, this is a whole new way to look at things, right? What if that really is still there? But the Matrix, we are still living in those floating cities outside of the Matrix? Because one of the things I asked is, what is the outside of the Matrix like? What if that is what the outside of the Matrix is like? What if we still have the floating cities or have them again or have them for the first time? We don't know. This place has been reset before. Hard to tell. So I'm sitting here going, oh, that actually kind of gives my brain a cramp. Not really. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, is that what it really is like outside the matrix? Are we still in the floating cities that we saw build the pyramids? Those people built the pyramids, not by hand, not themselves, and it wasn't a whole bunch of slaves either. They could levitate things. They had ways of levitating things. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Not only that, but they were huge. So it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm sitting there thinking, is that my answer? Is this my insight? Is that what life outside the matrix is like? And then we come in here, we pick out our situation, and then we have to live with it for whatever reason. I mean, there are all kinds of reasons, I guess. So I'm still working on that one. I'll let you know when and if I get any more information on that because I'd like to know myself. But this has opened up once again, like I say, a whole new brand of exploration because every time you think you got to the bottom of a rabbit hole, there's a whole bunch more of them open up. You're there like going, oh my gosh. Yeah, the farther you go, the farther you go. And then the farther you go, it's so weird that you get to the point where you're just like, this cannot be possible, can it? Yes, it can. Apparently, the world is that weird. So, how does this relate once again to getting hugged by Sasquatch? Well, in the shaman dream time, dream time is placed between waking and sleeping. I think they sometimes call it the theta realms. And it's like a world of its own. There are three worlds. I'll go over this probably sometime when I'm doing a show specifically about the three worlds or about shamanism. But there are three worlds, the below world, the middle world, and the above world. This is what you go through. You know what? Gee, flying carpets. Not impossible. There are people who have made flying platforms. So what's a flying platform? If you put a carpet on it, it's a flying freaking carpet, isn't it? Right. You could have your living room in the air. Why not? Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Flying carpets. That could be another example of levitation. It would look like that to somebody, wouldn't it? And how would they describe it? I mean, if they didn't have any words for it and they saw this, how would you describe that? Well, it's this carpet looking thing that a guy steps on and then they go places. I mean, how would you know, it's a levitating platform of some sort. So, yeah, I totally can see that. So, here we go with the weirdness again. So, if that wasn't weird enough, I've been having these dreams that I feel abandoned or lost. And I'm always in a different place and it's slightly different circumstances, but usually I feel like I'm abandoned. I can't find my way home. I'm supposed to follow somebody, but I don't know the way. Something happens, I get separated from my people, and I'm get lonely. And so for a while, I've been lonely. Didn't know why. Was talking about all kinds of possibilities it could be. Well, apparently, Cray comes on, and I mentioned it, and she says, "Well, there is one thing it could be that I could think of: Sasquatch withdrawal." And I'm like, "S- Sas-" and it's like apparently, if you have been mind speaking them for a long time, like I have, not knowing I was mind speaking them, just taking it as part of my internal dialogue, taking it that I had a wild imagination, maybe, or am I talking to myself, or whatever it is. I mean, a lot of us who are empaths and a lot of us who are doing mind speak had no idea we've been doing it all whole life. And when they finally showed me all the times that the force people had been around me and I didn't know, I realized they'd known me for a long time. They'd had I felt like a special interest in me. Now, yes, they can read your heart, and that's the way Robin puts it. I believe that. Hey, Circle K. So, oh, I hope you have. I've had an interesting week too. I got to go to, finally, I had an interesting day. I got to go to Balloon A-faire, a balloon launch. It was really cool. Um, so I'm thinking, is that what happened to me? Because, she said, if you're mind speaking them and then they go away, because I said, well, yeah, it seems like they're not here. And she scans psychically. She says, no, they're not here. They're not around, rather, in your area right now. I said, yeah, when I hear them, it sounds very distant. Yeah, I can tell they're not near. She says, well, Sasquatch withdrawal, you're used to that being there. And when it's not there, all of a sudden it feels like you're alone. It feels weird. People get depressed, people get lonely, people have different reactions to it. But it's like something is gone that's you're used to being there, and it feels strange. And a lot of people get that feeling like they're alone. Well, oh, really? Circle K? Oh, well, Robin says they have a particular energy that you shouldn't be around them too long. That you need to take breaks from them because their energy is not a match with our energy all the time. We can't always. You can, as she says, you can ask them to step back a little, but it can actually harm us if we're around it too much. It can make us sick. Um, so I don't know. It's not impossible. Right. And T says, yep, I had encounters too since I was about 12 and didn't realize it about 14 years ago. Me either was the last thing in my mind. I thought I was talking to nature spirits, and probably I am. I mean, I know I am. I'm talking to nature spirits, elementals, angels, fairies, what have you, right? I never thought of Sasquatch for somehow. Then somebody else brought something up too in the last show, in that same show, that she thinks she was a Sasquatch in another life. And I thought to myself, they were saying, do you think that's possible? It's like, sure, it's possible. We're two branches of the human species. They're human too. So obviously, it's possible. If it's possible at all, yeah, it would be. I mean, to reincarnate, if reincarnation happens, yeah, it wouldn't be unusual to be a Sasquatch. That would be totally possible. So then I got to thinking, is that maybe how they pick some of us is that we've had lives being Sasquatch, and so they kind of know us already because remember, they live a lot longer than we do. And they would maybe, since they're very keen observers, they would maybe be able to recognize certain personality traits that would come forward, or maybe they flat out know who we are, even though we don't. I don't know. Well, Circle K, I felt like that a long time too, for years, until just a couple years ago. And I ain't no kid. I had no idea I was this close to them. I had no idea they were this close to me. Yeah, I used to say that same thing, Circle K. Yeah. Circle K said, "Should you believe it? And you might have dated one or two." And no, hairy hominid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I dated him in college. Yeah, I bet they like that too. That sounds like a good thing to do, T. You know, I keep thinking if I was a Sasquatch and they knew that, that would be maybe why they trust us enough to mind speak with us, or maybe why we can mind speak with them. Maybe why they chose Robin, or maybe why they chose me, maybe why they choose people at all, is because there's a certain affinity there. Could it be that we had Sasquatch lives? Well, it sure as heck ain't impossible. Do I remember it? No, but it would certainly be possible because I'm a nature lover and a lot of us are. So, yeah, very possible that that's where some of that comes from, right? So I'm there thinking, wow, what if that is the truth? And what if I have Sasquatch withdrawal? Bum, 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 Sasquatch withdrawal. Because Robin says you can never get enough Sasquatch. I think really we need more cowbell. More cowbell. No, we need more Sasquatch, right? That's why. I get it now. That's why so many shows in the last few years. That's it. She says once you have an experience with them, you never get enough. Something interesting about that. I have to contemplate that. Something is going, hey, hey. Yeah. I'll figure out what it is. Anyway, so I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, I hear him when I hear him. I hear him far away, like in the distance. Yeah. Robin said they weren't in the area. She could feel that. Yeah, I noticed. So crazy as it sounds, it's too quiet in my head. Wow, what a concept. It's too quiet in my head, and I'm feeling lonely. She said you can feel depressed, lonely, blah, 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 different things can happen. Wow. So what I did was I reached out with my mind because having been disabled, um, I had to learn to do things without physically using my physical body. I had to learn how to do a lot of my healing and other stuff. And it turns out that has something to do with why I can bilocate, is because I had to do that because I couldn't physically get certain places. Oh, you're getting some rain in Cali? It finally made it to you? We've been trying to get you rain. Okay. Let's see if I can figure this out. One screaming at you 4 years ago, knocked 3 excess with 2 big rocks, and come dark around the 11 p. You could hear him screaming from a far distance. I had one scream at me too. Not in a bad way, though, but just in a warning way. I was a little too close to there. I was in their backyard. I was a little too close. I needed to turn around and go back the other way, which I did. I'm, I said, "Whoa, am I in your area? I'm so sorry. I don't need to be here. I can go around the other way, you know?" And they were pretty nice about it, but I did hear way up ahead of me that yell that I will never forget, and which reminded me when I heard it on somebody else's show. I'm like, I've heard that. And the Sasquatch showed me the time that happened. I had the whole thing replay. And they showed me that it was them. They showed me that I had bypassed their structures. I had seen them. And I had been very respectful. And I had not tried to disturb them at all. And that I had stopped when they scattered pebbles in my path, when they threw pebbles in my path, and then finally a rock. Usually it escalates. The bigger the rock, the bigger the, and the more weight, literally, to what they're saying. So when instead of pebbles, I got a rock, I stopped immediately and said, okay, that's a rock. That's something entirely different. That means something different. Oh, Circle K. There are some shows that actually have recordings of the way that they sound when they scream. And it's just, I cannot copy it. Now, the one that I heard, he didn't sound angry, but basically letting me know, because when I said, am I in somebody's living room? And it was like, it was like this yowl, some kind of, how deep yowl. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds big, and I hope it isn't hungry, because if I didn't know what it was, that sounds big. I don't think I want to go up there. I think I'll turn around and go back. Hey, you guys, whoever's here, because I wasn't sure who it was. I didn't know anything about him. Hey, I don't need to go through here. Yeah, I'll leave you in peace. Which might be one of the reasons they trust me. I would never, if I would see those things out in the woods, I would never mess with their stuff. I would never, like right now, even now, I would never, like, come try to move in on their territory, use their, or even touch their structures or anything. So I have a lot of respect, and that's probably part of it too. But could it be? Well, I'll tell you, Circle K. Duke has that scream on his show, so it's part of the intro. If he had been any closer, it would have been Brown Trouser, probably. But it was far up away. It was far up in the distance. So It was like, oh, I don't care what that is. I'm going to turn around and go the other way now. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'll never knock again. Oh, you were trying to do the wood knock. So, oh, I see how it fits together. Yeah. Well, there are some things that sound like a woman screaming. There are some things that sound like a woman screaming. There are things that sound like a baby crying. Who knows? There are female Sasquatch. I don't know. Yeah, that scream on Duke's channel is similar. Yeah, it's similar. The pattern of it, something about it. It's like, yeah, it was that kind of scream that I heard. Yeah, when I was in their territory. They didn't want me to go any farther. That's usually get back. This is my land. This is my domain. They don't really own land. They don't really believe in it, but this is my hunting ground, my living room at this point. Um, I've I've heard weird stuff like that, and I've also heard what sounded like some little dwarf mumbling in a foreign language before. Right down at it's the signal tree down in the Chuckery area of a park. So I've heard this stuff too. I've heard some weird stuff, and then there's one. We'd go there at night just as the sun set, and then we'd have to be out of there before the forest people came and rousted us. But we'd hear something get a kill every single time we went out there. We'd hear a kill. And sometimes we'd smell something that kind of is what they smell like when they don't want you to be around. Yeah, yeah, I saw that thing about told it was a female mountain lion when she's in heat. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. And supposedly there's also a type of fish, some kind of a sea cryptid or something that'll do that. But I don't know much about that. But yeah, if you tried to answer a woman's screams and it turned it out to be a female mountain lion in heat, that would not be pleasant consequences. Hey, yeah, I hope so. Circle K. Yeah. Well, Mercury doesn't come out of retrograde until the 2nd. Yeah, something's getting better. I asked the pendulum, are they really out? Are the big controllers really gone from our planet? Yes. The pendulum is saying yes, they are gone. They are finally gone. It had something to do with the Queen's passing. and the power or position going to Charles. Pardon me. I've had a full day at the Balloon A-faire. Spent the whole day outside. It was great. But yeah, um, that's why I was late coming into. Anyway, yeah, I think about it and I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm buying it. All of this, there there could be some cryptids. I mean, I know that catbirds are called that because they sound like cats. And then there's also some kind of animal that sounds a little bit like a crying baby, but you really don't want to mess with it. And I can't remember what it is. Max had a birthday party last night. Aww, I didn't know. The rain is starting to feel like it was growing back up in the 60s. That's nice, Circle. Okay. We finally got you some rain out there. Hey, that is a sign too. Because I've seen rain out there plenty of times. But there's been times when we have had it in the last couple of years when we have had it get blocked. It got blocked in Texas for a while too. We had to unblock it. So apparently it got unblocked and now can reach California. Don't be surprised. I'm going to ask for it to be steady, even rain so that it doesn't wash anybody away. Yeah. Oh, you're where they can be. Yeah, I couldn't believe them right around here. I don't really see how that could be happening around here, though. We don't really have that kind of wildlife. We have tons of deer, though. That's why it would make a great Sasquatch place, is because we have plenty of deer, plenty of wetland. I was thinking probably during the 80 and 90-degree weather, they were probably over soaking in the lake, in the two lakes. We have, lakes and stuff around here where you could easily soak yourself and get cooled off. And I'm figuring probably in the hot days, they're spending a lot of time there. The Sasquatch. So how did I get a hug from Sasquatch? I was in the dream time. I was thinking about it. I was contemplating. Could I have had a life as a Sasquatch? I guess I could have. I was contemplating, could I be lonely because the Sasquatcher have moved on down the road a little? Could I be having that? Yes, I could. So I reached out with my mind and I said, hey, you know what? I miss you. And I'm lonely. And I got an answer. And it was the female. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, oh, well, we don't want you to be lonely. We had no idea that you were lonely. Weird. When you think about it, they didn't have any idea that I was lonely, so they were kind of, oh, we'll take care of that. So it was like a female Sasquatch showed up in my mind's eye, and I was almost eye to eye with her. When I go out of my body, I can assume almost any size, even Titan sized. So I have a feeling it could probably look like anything too. So I walked out to see her of my body, out of my body and said, "Yeah, I guess I've been talking to Robin, and I guess I miss you guys. I didn't realize that we were mind speaking all the time, but then when I heard you distant, I've been having these dreams, and I explained that, just gave her a thought packet to explain it. And she said, "Oh, well, we'll handle that." And she hugged me. She gave me a hug. I don't know if they do that physically, if that's ever a thing. I'm not sure it would even be a pleasant thing to have happen to you if you were, to be hugged by. I'm not sure how that would work to be that close to him or something, but in my astral form, I guess, uh, it was fine, if we're in etheric, you know, and I can be the right size for that. You can't get I'm not getting hurt, but, not that I think they would necessarily intentionally hurt me, but they're huge. So, there's always that. There's always being too much with Sasquatch too long. It's the energy difference, you know. But, she hugged me a long time. She just kinda held me like a mother and hugged me, and I said mine spoke, said, "Do you think I had a life as a Sasquatch?" She said, "Yes, you did." And then I was back, and I felt much better, and that dream was gone. I didn't have that dream again. I didn't have this dream about being lonely, and I didn't have this dream about being left behind, so I'm thinking, "Is that what it was all this time?" I was thinking all kinds of things, like, could it be because I don't know where I'm waiting for 5D to happen, and could it be that I'm waiting for uh, you know, for the people from my planet to show up in their ships and take me? Why am I feeling this way? What is going on in my own head, right? Oh my gosh, Circle K. There once was a report of a cougar around here, but all of the young men were told to stay inside until she left the campus. That is a cougar joke. Okay, and I can do it because I'm a cougar. Ah, I'm a I'm a proud cougar too. But anyway, yeah, that would definitely not be something I would want to deal with. They left paw prints in the garden were the same size as my hand. Wow. Wow. Oh, and they're ambush predators. Wow. Yeah. Then you have to be careful and watch out for your dogs and cats. Ah, that's another weird coincidence. I just read something about eagle cam. One of the things an eagle brought back to the nest was a kitty cat, somebody's pet. They say that in eagle nest you will see all kinds of collars from people's pets, because eagles are big and they can take them. They can take a cat or a small dog. Some of them even try to murk cattle, sheep, small sheep. They're big. They're really big birds. You got to watch it. So, so I guess it's even happened that they've tried to pick up little children when they've been real hungry. So, um, there you go. You know, people are too far away. There's something else I want to talk about too. Um, not, I don't know, not maybe in the same show, maybe in another show, but I've been hit with the Sumerian teachings lately a lot, and I heard the one about Atra Jesus. It's a classic story that we're practically reliving now. It's also a classic story that they portrayed, oddly enough, on Star Trek in an episode called The Cloudminder's Daughter. I have to rewatch that show. I have a feeling there's some tidbits in there about a lot of things, but supposedly it's a story about how the gods forgot. They were forgetting, like we are, where their food actually comes from. When Enlil made his plans, he neglected to think that the slaves were where the food was coming from. It's what it sounds like. People have different interpretations, but I'm listening to it thinking they forgot where the food comes from and the gods were starving. Because Enlil had sent a flood. Enlil had actually got in touch with other gods to send the flood. Why? Because he couldn't sleep. We were too noisy. Now, instead of just putting on earphones like a lot of us do or something, his answer was to kill everybody. Obviously, he didn't care much for us. I decided not to live there, even though it was a paradise. I had to go my own way as usual. I'm more comfortable living in the trenches with the rest of the slaves. Ah, I see. Um, Something is up with this floating city thing. Something is definitely up with this, and I'm going to pursue this a while. And when I do, you guys will hear about it, and we'll have a talk. Oh, sure, absolutely. Do you want to come in and talk about it, or do you want to just? Are you? Have we knighted you as a wrench? Have we wrenched you? I'm trying to figure out if there's some way I can wrench you from here, but I don't know if I can. No, I can't. I have to go into um, YouTube to wrench you. But definitely put the link in our MeWe group, Galactic Woo Crew MeWe group. I would love to, or I don't know, maybe down in the comments or something after the show, something. I'm gonna have to get into YouTube and start doing some stuff, getting some stuff done, getting some people wrenched, some more people wrenched. Um, okay, so I'm looking right now at yeah, that I believe that is true. That is the story of the Anunnaki and the Ijiji, the Cloudminder's daughter. Atra Jesus. I'm wondering, I have to watch it again. Would Atra Jesus be Kirk? Or somebody he talks to. I gotta see that one again because somehow he gets it hashed out. It was an equal rights thing. Anyway, and this was, you remember, we were doing a big thing on civil rights at that time. That was a real big thing. And now the real big thing is anti-civil rights, is uncivil rights, your right to be not civil. Yeah, Circle K, it does sound fascinating. Please add it to our list of things that we can watch. I do have a new group I'm starting on MeWe too. I think it's called Healing Frequencies, Solfeggios, Rife, and other, you know. Um, but I'll be putting the link in. And it's going to be just for the frequencies that you can use, and you can play them either when you sleep or in the background to get things done while you're doing something entirely else. So you can really utilize your whole day. I frequently put them on when I go to sleep, or when I'm working on something, I'll put them on, and I'm not really listening to them too much. There aren't any words to them, they're just tones and music. And yet, it does change things. And I've sent people onto those files, and they've had things change noticeably for them. So um, be on the lookout for that. The comments aren't moving, so I'm not sure if your comments are coming in. There's always a point in the show when the comments stop moving. Anyway, um, went from Hug to Sasquatch to Star Trek and floating. Look at the way this show wanders. It really wanders around, doesn't it? But it all fits together. All of these phenomena, every bit of phenomena, like I say, that's why we cover everything. It all goes together. It's all part of the same thing. It's not a bunch of different stuff, phenomena. It's all because of the same thing. It's all connected. Oh, cool. To the sounds of Jupiter. That's lovely. Where do you get them? I suppose I could type it in and find sounds. You know what? Did I say one time somebody was playing the sounds of the planets and somebody played Neptune? All of a sudden, I find myself out in space staring at this big round thing. It's kind of looks like it has mold or moss or lichen or something, kind of gray green, kind of brown and gray green. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, am I looking at Neptune? And I felt like I was. Was it looked kind of misty and cloudy and also kind of gray green. It's very weird. Um, and then I pulled myself back and I'm there like, I feel like somehow I was looking at Neptune. So how, I couldn't tell you how that happened. I must have got pulled in by the sound. So these things can happen. Once again, life is way weirder than we imagine, and maybe way stranger than we can imagine. So the healing sounds really work. I'm going to be leaving those two, and I'm going to have a special group for healing sounds, basically healing frequencies. And boy, do I look. I've been really windblown today. I've been out all day. Boy, I kind of look it too, but I had fun. There's something going on. Pardon me, I don't mean to yawn. Gosh, I guess I'm tired for a good reason. I've been gone a lot. Um, Voyager recordings. Wow. You know what, T? You're in the right place. You're among family here. We're mostly experiencers. Most of us wouldn't be here if we weren't experiencers. That's why we go to these shows anyway, most of us. Yes, there are some people who are curious, but most people, they want to know about their experience. They want to be able to talk about it. And we do respect experiencers here. So, and in our MeWe group, it's safe to talk. We're mostly experiencers. So I would like you to invite you to mewe.com, mewe.com. Our MeWe, it's free. It's like Facebook, but without the data mining. We have a group called Galactic Woo Crew. I would like to invite you to join for free and be part of the membership. It's kind of where we hang our hat and post our stuff. We don't do a lot of chat there, but we keep in touch with each other there. Oh, yeah, I know. The windblown look. And I get it for free because, yeah, I love to. I'm like, Jason says, why don't you just stick your head out the window like a dog? Even though we have air conditioning, I love to have the windows down. Always did. You know, he teases me. He's like, just stick your head out the window like a dog. Yeah, it'll be great, you know. Oh, T, you had 3 ghosts in your last house? I grew up in the haunted houses. As a matter of fact, this is the first place that I've moved to that isn't haunted, oddly enough. It's pretty new. It's not built on top of anything that we know of. It's out in the middle of wetland. So it was pretty clear when I came in. Oh, see, Sasquatches can do that, but then other cryptids can too, T. Yeah, yeah. I had ghosts like all my life and everywhere I've ever been. Ghosts and other stuff too. Like I said, this is the first place that I haven't had to deal with that too much. I did have a few things challenge me though, which I dispatched very quickly, and I found out I can dispatch things in my sleep now. It tried to pick on me in my sleep where it thought I'd be vulnerable. I shoved the sword right down through its mouth and killed it, whatever it was. Not sure what it was. But anyway, didn't last long. Other things I just had to handle, like the woman who didn't know she was dead. Well, you know what? Is I have a lot of cats and dogs that visit me. And in my previous place, when I first moved there, there was a ghost cat and a depressed spirit of a guy. Was a depressed man and his cat, and something must have happened to him, but I never found out what. He was there when I first came. I passed him on. I sent him on, crossed him over. Oh yeah, almost downtown Phoenix, and those shiny ones were seen by the Superstition Mountains too. Phoenix lights? Interesting. The Superstition Mountains. Kind of funny, huh? Superstition Mountains. Stevie Wonder's super, very superstitious. Um, by the time I get to Phoenix Airport is the weird one, isn't it? I mean, they're all a little weird now. Airports are weird. I'm convinced there's something going on with airports in general, but oh dear. Mm, I didn't get enough sleep, I guess. Yeah, some things can cloak like predator, and Sasquatch being one of the main ones, but not limited by any means to Sasquatch. So yeah, we love hearing these stories from people. We love hearing your stories. If you want to write in a story, send me your story. Um, Ocean Diana, just like what's here. It says PayPal me. This is my PayPal, but Ocean Diana at Gmail is my email. So if you send in your story, or if you send me a message on MeWe, that would be good too. Yeah, Denver's the weird one. Oh yes, of course. Denver's the openly a New World Order one, right? It's almost like they're pointing a big red arrow at themselves. Boy, that place freaked me out when I realized all that was there. I still don't know everything. I'm sure there's a lot more about that place that needs a look. So bizarre. So, have you ever done the mind speaking and then lost the mind speak for a while and got lonely like I did? I actually was feeling lonely, trying to figure out why and having bad dreams. Sasquatch withdrawal. It's weird. I think it's so sweet. You know what else she said when she was hugging me? She says, "Your people don't know how to love enough." It was something like enough or right or as much as we do or the way we do or, whatever it was. It was like something that wasn't quite the same as the way that, that humans need to learn to love each other more somehow or better or in better ways or something like that. Mind speaking is kind of strange. Trying to put it into words is not really working. Yeah, it's my planet too. Yeah, I'm a Sag. Unless you go by the New Age stuff, then I've moved over into Serpentarius, otherwise known as Ophiuchus or Ophiuchus. I think it's probably Ophiuchus, but anyway. Yeah, I should try Jupiter. I don't know if there's one for Serpentarius. I don't know if we've been there. it we have the sounds because Voyager flew by, right? Voyager, because Voyager did a flyby. Keep thinking of the first Star Trek movie. That was one of my first gigs as a costumer. I was making costumes for everybody at the theater where it was premiering Star Trek costumes. He was a big, he was a really big fan of Star Trek. The guy who owned the theater. So, yeah, there's some kind of a um, lag between YouTube and StreamYard. Although when you get 'em on, we can hear each other in it's in real time. But somehow the commentary and the video kind of lag between each other. There's some lag time, obviously. I don't entirely understand that. I'm in my bedroom talking about all this stuff because um, I couldn't recharge my phone. I'm going to be putting pictures and videos from the balloon launch that I went to in MeWe too. So you can take a look at those once I get them up. Probably not right away. And I probably will wait and get a little rest and then get up and do it. But um, let's see, today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. I have a lot to do. Unbelievable. You're rude to this guy and he starts behaving. Really, Circle K? Maybe that's what you need. It's like, well, if you're going to be rude, I don't see why I should be nice. Maybe he didn't realize how rude he was. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys showed up to discuss. I didn't put any advance notice out, and I'm on way later than I usually am, so I'm sure people are wondering what happened to me and kind of went off and watched another show. But it's been an hour and almost an hour and a half now, and I'm yawning. I hate to say it, I am tired after having a full day today. I love talking with you guys, though. I hate to miss it. People that come in here are so interesting. And I love you all. You're great. I really look forward to coming in here and speaking with you and watching the chat. And it's it's still maybe part of that loneliness thing. I don't know. But you know what? Since I got a hug from a Sasquatch in the etheric in the dream time, I haven't had that loneliness feeling. I felt better. So maybe she did something. I don't know. Or maybe that was really all I needed was just reattach. I don't know. Um, very strange. But it just makes sense now why I always felt more peaceful in the woods and why it was always so quiet. I always felt like I could breathe when I'd be going through these places. When I was a kid, I loved to run down the trails. My parents would get mad at me because I would be running. They weren't used to seeing me run. I didn't run anywhere. I wasn't a good runner. But when I got down to the trails, I'd just run down the trails and I'd be very happy. I was very happy. And somehow I could breathe. Felt like I could breathe better. Like there was more oxygen or something. Yeah. I know I'm really never alone. None of us are. I do too, Cannabis. Hey, naysay, my friend. Do you want to come on Wednesday? Do you want to come on Wednesday? My email is oceandiana@gmail.com. Oceandiana like that at gmail.com. I'm not sure if we're hooked up there yet or not, but I'll look. I may even still have your phone number. I hope I do. But my um, I've had so much happen with the phone, though. I hope I still do. oceandiana@gmail.com. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I believe that, T. And it's odd because I felt completely alone, but I know I wasn't. I really never am. That's just the thing. I have said this so many times. You want to know why you can't get back to God? You can never get back to God. I'm sorry. You can never get back to God because you can't get away from God. You can't get away. God is always there. So how can you get back if you can't get away? Yeah, riddle me that one. You know what we need? I need to do some kind of meme of Bill Gates dressed up like one of the Jokers. That would be good. Okay. Well, then that's not the day. But you have a choice of um, Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays, usually at 8:30. Although Sundays have been late lately because I've been gone. But it'll probably be at 8:30 again soon when things settle down. Yeah, I'm thinking the 22nd is going to be interesting. 21st and the 22nd. And oddly enough, after the equinox, our weather falls right off into the 60s from the 80s. That's where our season's been. Summer is hot, and then fall gets cooler. Boom. It used to be a lot more gradual, but not anymore. Um, Thank you, Circle K. Well, Naysay, we'll get together and come up with a date for you. And girl, I want you to wear those purple fishnets. I'm teasing you, Naysay. Wear the orange ones. It's going to be Halloween soon. I tease Naysay all the time. I don't want you to think I don't love you no more. Oh, you're fasting. Well, I'm not doing quite the same thing. I'm doing the intermittent fasting. Fasting does help a lot of things. Fasting is very good for the body. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing some sort of equinox show, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't quite decided. So, yeah, I can feel it. I am really tired, you guys. It was a big day. Really happy though. I got to have some fun because I was saying to my guides, I was saying, guys, I know people who I haven't even been swimming. I haven't even been swimming this year. Guys, it's not good. I haven't even been swimming. And so finally I got to go out and do something. I got this like twice. I got to go out and do something. Just fun and see something else outside. It's really nice. Okay. I'm pretty tired. I would love to sit and talk to you more, but I'm afraid I'm drifting off. Um, I just guess I didn't have enough tea and coffee and stuff. Oh, Paleo Americans. Oh, well, naysay, all scary. Circle K says, I've been thinking of being a Roman for Halloween. Yeah, that is scary. The Paleo Americans that died from smallpox, I bet that was particularly a winner during C-19 lockdown. It's just a step to the left. Anyway, like I said, love talking to you guys, but I feel myself kind of fading after a big day. So I hope you do. Oh, that's another thing. Got a bunch of all kinds of pollen up the nose. Up the nose. Frankenfurter. Not the guy with no neck. Ah, I don't want to be him. Jimmy Church on Fade to Black YouTube, yeah. The current Templar's Grand Master a couple weeks ago. Oh, really? Yeah, Jupiter, I will. Thank you, Circle K. I really appreciate this. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Thank you, T. And cannabis, we will talk somehow or other. We'll get together and get you a day. I definitely want to have you on. Okay. Like I said, once again, suddenly I'm tired. I'm really sorry that I'm on so late. A lot of stuff happened. but I just wanted to come in, touch base, because I try to do what I promise I'm gonna do. Yeah. Oh, well, then I really gotta go see it. Said, oh, that blew us all away. Well, now I really gotta go see it. Jimmy Church, Templar's Grand Master. Interesting. I bet it was. I'm also seeing all kinds of weird videos on our origins. Like I said, did I talk about Atra Jesus? Basically, this story about the gods forgetting where their food came from. It was like, yeah, I did. I mentioned it about the Cloudminder's daughter. They were forgetting that, I mean, first the people were starving, and Enlil didn't care. He didn't give a fig. But when the gods started starving, then he's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have killed them all in a flood. If it hadn't been for Enlil, it'd be all over. It would have been in a lot of trouble. Enlil's the one who, of course, saved. That's where the Noah's story comes from. He's the one who warned people. Yeah, he's the one who warned their version of Noah that it was coming and saved some species. And so Enki actually gave it him and his family. And Enlil just wanted to exterminate us because we were noisy, I guess. Yes, I will go check it out. You know, the more I think of that, I still get that cranky old man vibe. You know, shut up, you damn kids! Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! I can't do that very well. Get off my lawn! No, can't do it very well. Anyway, I have to work on it. The last four giants alive, you know what? We have pictures of giants. Don't tell me we didn't have giants. Don't tell me that we didn't have giants. Everybody around the world says we did have giants. Native Americans say we did have giants. Sure we did. Now, they weren't as giant as like the Titans, some of them. Some of them were only Anunnaki, and they were only Anunnaki size, which is not that much taller, only about 8 feet or so. But we've had them taller too, and I've seen the spirits of people who are way taller, like really tall, like several like stories tall, like head in the clouds tall. That those colossal statues in Egypt were actual size. I think all of them lived together. They all shared the same environment for a while. They all were together alive at the same time. And I think we've totally forgotten all that and been helped in forgetting all that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree, Circle K, a lot of different races. I've sure seen a few. And like I said, when we were doing that, we were in Max Vision, and we were doing um, we were looking at something, and I ended up in a ship with blue guys. They didn't seem surprised. They just kind of looked at me and smiled. Kind of gave a little sort of a acknowledged that I was there. They saw me somehow. really weird. So I guess I can travel in time too, because that was the past we were looking at. They saw me. Yeah. Oh yeah, well, Sasquatch are relatives. Yeah. We didn't have giants. I didn't tell you I dictated this. Your your people didn't have any stories of giants, huh? You didn't have giants. Well, maybe you had good, you know, giant spray. that- Maybe your ancestors knew some giant repellent measures. I don't know. They say, but I believe you. Yeah, the giant's room in the castle she lived in. It's. We've got pictures. Friend told you about a woman who created time travel by slowing light down. That was in a Star Trek movie. It was one of the ones with Picard in it. So it would have been a next gen movie. That actually was in a movie. Doesn't mean it wasn't also real because, predictive programming and disinformation and blah, 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 blah. We all know some of these things are there because it's soft disclosure. Some of these things are there so that they can point at something in entertainment and say, "Oh, you watched too much of that." You choose which it was there by, but for what reason it's there, I guess. Maybe both. We're going to let you know what we're doing, but then we're going to make you look silly for believing it. Yeah. Okay. I'm really gonna I'm gonna end it all. No, I'm not gonna end all of it. I'm just going to end this stream and get some rest. And I want to see you tomorrow. Oh yeah, the Smithsonian takes all the giant skeletons. You know what? Ours got saved. Ours out of our mound here got saved because the Native Americans threw a fit here and had it reburied. Had the mother and baby reburied. The bones were giant bones. I have that from an insider. Yeah. So, yeah, we had giants. And a lot of the Native Americans know about it, have stories about them. Okay. I love you guys. I hope to see you tomorrow. Probably be in at 8:30. Monday's not that big of a day, so I'll probably make it in on time tomorrow. And not sure what the subject is yet. I have a feeling the universe will provide it though. And the truth is where you find it. I hope you find some here. Love you too, and big hugs. I might I might drift in and out of SOR or something, but Or probably not, though. I'll probably just rest a while because I did a lot today. Okay, you sleep well too. Remember, you are divine. You're creators. Create well. Dream well. Choose wisely what you want the future to look like because you're helping to make it. And be kind to each other. Because according to Sasquatch, our people don't know how to love very well. "7 feet tall for the bed, over 6 feet tall for the wind." Oh, you were the giants. Oh, is your phone doing what my phone does? Your phone is screwing up and typing things that you didn't say. Mine does that, and it says nutty things. It sounds like it has Tourette's sometimes. I don't have Tourette's, but my phone sounds like it does. It'll just type something with an boom, you know. Okay, so you were the giants. Isn't that interesting how we were the giants too, and we were on the Viking side. They were tall, very tall too, some of them. And isn't it funny how there are also people that I have talked to personally? You know what? There was a lady at my wedding that was over 7 foot tall. Over 7 foot tall. She makes me look like a gnome. So I know there are still giants. Maybe not huge giants, but there are people who are very large, much larger than normal. Humans come in a range. So I know that. Okay. Naysay, we want to hear all about it one day. Maybe that's one of the things you can talk about. I'd love to hear all about it. I'm sure it'd be a really interesting show, so we got to get that scheduled. I love you guys. I'm taking off. I'm going to get some rest. And I might be up poking around the chats a little later once I get some rest. See, my audience is so interesting. One of the things I love about the show, I don't have a big audience, but the audience I have is so interesting. You guys are really cool, really interesting, really nice people, really just neat people, you know, to be with, to chat with, to talk with. I just love you. You know, I kind of wish I had somebody around here like that. I could use a group like that around here. Okay, take care, you guys. Love you. I'll see you tomorrow at probably at 8:30 because nothing much is going on tomorrow. Okay, bye bye.